Hi there. Welcome to another case study. My name is John. I'm with an Calgary-based managed IT service provider. A number of years ago, we had a construction company approach us. They had an IT person working in-house currently, but were experiencing a lot of issues. And through discussions with their peers, we're sort of piecing together that they were spending a lot more money than they should on IT and cybersecurity. So we were asked to work with this person who honestly was, I wouldn't say hostile, but certainly was not friendly because we were seen as a threat. Anyways, the philosophy was interesting in that he had a command and control type philosophy. That means he controlled, for example, what emails were released from spam. So people had to wait for emails to be released by him. And when you're dealing with construction, you need contracts signed in a timely manner. So it was causing issues. Um, there was 50 servers for 50 people because he had a not for resale server agreement with Microsoft, and so for that person, it was easy just to spin up another server to do a very specific type of task. There was also he was also especially concerned about cybersecurity threats. So his approach was put in all these layers of cybersecurity that all relied on each other, which created all these complicated rules that basically uh, compounded the complexity of whatever rules they might have in the Active Directory or in the router or whatever it might be, but they're compounded times 10 because they all relied on each other. And so as a result, the print server had to be rebooted every day. Someone had to do that. The staff were waiting for support for fairly long periods of time. The internal wireless network simply just didn't work, which I seems kind of like it's almost kind of weird to say it, but that's the case. So, um, because of the how complicated the network was, it took us actually 2 years to unravel it, and we had to take a phased approach, right? So just start with one thing, and then start with a second, and then deal with the aftershocks of those ramifications because we didn't always know what was going to happen if we replaced a number of managed switches or a router because of all the interdependency of rules of software and hardware. And the documentation was very poor, so we couldn't rely on that. So at the end of 2 years, basically the IT person did not end up at the company anymore. But there was an interesting results after 2 years. Here's what their labor costs and hardware and software costs and data center internet. Here's what their annual costs were. 2 years later, here's what happened. We got their labor costs down, hardware costs down, software costs are roughly the same, and we changed to leased hardware instead of buying hardware outright. And we got rid of the data center and just went to a good fiber connection. We got rid of most of the servers. It went down from 27 servers down to 4. Wireless network worked. Put in SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, all the cloud-based technology. Replaced all the routers and switches. Simplified everything. And then put in multiple layers of cybersecurity that were not dependent on each other. So put in phishing simulations, put in cybersecurity awareness training, putting in different technologies that worked independent of each other to give us alerts based on suspicious behavior. We put a work from home solution in place. Anyways, it took us 2 years, but the cost decrease was dramatic. But also, people got their support tickets resolved quickly. There were simply a lot less tickets because there was less issues. And if we sort of take a look down here, sort of hidden, but back in March when we first took it on, our system was generating 2,524 tickets a month. And sort of 2 years later, we're down to 229 tickets. So sort of like a 92% decrease in tickets and happier staff. We also ended up getting involved in helping them look at different construction management platforms based on how they actually collect data in the field and what reporting they're looking at, and that's a different case study. But just an interesting case study. It's I think this is sort of an extreme example, but it does show you what can happen when you put simpler processes in place, um, but also boost up the cybersecurity at the same time. All right. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to have a discussion, and I can talk about this a bit more. Thank you.